Well, good morning. Thank you for joining me. So, we'll start today in a seated position. So, if you're not already in a seat that you find comfortable, go ahead and come into a comfortable seat. It might be cross legged, you might be sitting on a stool or a cushion, perhaps. And then just take a moment to close your eyes. Just begin to check in with your body. I like to check to see, are there any physical sensations that are present? Any areas of tightness or tension? Any residual reminder of yesterday's activities, perhaps? As well as, are there any thoughts or emotions that are present for you? And then we'll guide our palms together in front of the heart. Interlace the fingers, press the palms forward and up toward the ceiling. And then just begin to reach up through one hand and up through the other side. Left and right a few times, gently tugging on the fingers. As you lengthen each side of the body, each arm, down to the low back. And then as you separate your hands, take them behind your back, interlace the fingers there. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, begin to open up across the chest, and then gently turn the head from side to side. And then lift the chin up and drop it down. Again, lifting up and dropping down. And then one more time, lifting up and dropping down. All right, so as you bring your head back up to center, release the arms. Let them come down to rest on the floor. And then just walk your right hand out a little bit. So you're leaning into that right hand. Take the left hand to the left shoulder and start to rotate. A couple of circles in one direction. And a few circles the opposite way. All right, then sweep that left arm up and over toward the right side. And then squeeze and release the fingers a few times, as well as rotate through your wrist. All right, then with your next in-breath, lift up. And with your out breath, release your left hand down. And then slide it out. Leaning into the left hand, take the right hand to the right shoulder and start to circle. Again, a few times in one direction. And then a few times the opposite way. All right, then sweep that right arm up and over. Squeeze and release the fingers, as well as rotate through the wrist. All right, then with your in breath, rise up. And with your out breath, release your hand. All right, so we'll transition onto our backs. As you come down onto your back, just start by taking your knees in toward your chest. Give them a gentle squeeze. A little rock from side to side. Gently massaging your back and your hips and the back of your head. All right, then let your left leg straighten along the mat. And release your arms so that you can start to rotate through your right hip. So your right knee is drawing just this big circle in space. And then change directions. All right, the next time that your right knee comes in toward your chest, go ahead and catch it. Pick your head up and bring your forehead near your knee. Take a breath. And then as you release your head down to the floor, now take this right knee over toward the floor on the left side of your mat. So you're rolling all the way onto your left hip. Now, if the right knee doesn't come to the floor, you might wish to put a cushion or a pillow or a blanket or something similar underneath it for a little support. And then sweep that right arm back up and over to the right. And then as you start to land in this rotation, start to feel as though your right knee and your right hand are just melting away from each other. So really let yourself get soft and relaxed into this reclined twist. All right, take one more round of breath. And then just begin to guide that right knee back through center. And then drop the right knee still bent out to the right side. So it just drops over toward the floor on the right side. Knee is still bent. And just pause a moment here. Still really allowing that leg to be heavy and soft. Now let your left knee bend as you walk your left foot in. So the feet kind of meet here. And then cross your right ankle over your left thigh. So right ankle, left thigh. Guide the legs in toward the chest, reaching through for that left leg. And then as you're hugging your legs in here, your hands might be around your shin. They might be behind your knee. If it's not quite comfortable to reach all the way through for your left leg, maybe you just grab a hold of the right leg at your foot and your thigh or knee. So maybe you're just holding the right leg if reaching all the way through to the left leg doesn't quite work. But either way, start to rotate through your left ankle. Wiggle the toes, move them around a bit in space. Rotate both ways. All right, then let your left leg straighten so that your heel starts to reach up toward the ceiling. And then straighten the right leg up as well. So now you have your right ankle on top of your left ankle. And then interlace the fingers, let the hands rest behind the head and elbows on the floor. Now, as you inhale, start to lower your legs toward the floor, trying to keep them as straight as possible. And you'll just stop at whatever point you need to stop. So your feet might not be all the way toward the floor. You might stop somewhere halfway on the way down. But then when you're ready to exhale, pull the legs up, contracting your abdominals, really feeling how the strength of the belly can help pull the legs up with control. We'll do that a couple more times. As you inhale, slowly lower. And as you exhale, pull your legs back up. All right, one more like that. Breathing in. And breathing out. All right, uncross the legs, let your feet come down to the floor and sway your knees from side to side. All right, and then come to brief stillness. Release the hands from behind your head. Let them come to rest on your belly. Take 3 breaths. All right, and then after your 3rd breath, straighten out the right leg along the mat. Take the left knee into the chest, give it a gentle squeeze. And then keeping the leg drawn in, just release your arms so they're out of the way. And then begin to rotate through your left hip by drawing a circle with your knee. A couple of times in one direction. And then a couple of times the opposite way. And now the next time that your left knee comes in toward your chest, go ahead and catch it. Pick your head up, bring your forehead towards your knee, rounding your back, take a breath, and then release your head down to the floor. And then we'll take this left knee over toward the floor on the right side of the mat. So you're rolling fully onto your right hip. So your hips are basically stacked here. And then again, if this left knee doesn't come all the way to the floor, maybe you put a block or a cushion or something similar underneath it for support. And then just take that left arm back over to the left. And then you want to start to melt into the shape so that it feels like your left knee and your left hand are just sort of melting away from each other. So let yourself be soft and easeful here. All right, take one more round of breath. And then as you slowly bring that bent left knee back through center, keep it bent and just let it drop out to the left side. So it drops down toward the floor on the left. All right, now bend your right knee and walk the foot in. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Bring the legs in toward the chest, reaching through for that right leg. And again, you might grab around your shin, you might grab behind your knee, or if it's not comfortable to grab all the way through to the right leg, just hold on to the left leg. So maybe you're holding your knee and your foot. And with this, start to rotate through the right ankle, wiggle and move the toes, and rotate both ways. All right, and then take your hands behind your right knee so your right leg can straighten up toward the ceiling. And then we'll straighten that left leg up to join it, left ankle on top this time. Interlace your fingers, hands behind the head, but head and elbows on the floor. We'll do 3 more of these. As you inhale, slowly lower your legs, trying to keep them relatively straight, and just stop at whatever point you've reached enough challenge for your body. And then when you exhale, pull your legs back up to where you started. And we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, slowly lower. Exhale to lift. And 1 more like that, breathing in. And breathing out. All right, bend the knees, release the feet, step them wide, and sway your knees from side to side. All right, briefly pause in stillness. Release the hands from behind your head. Let them come to rest on your belly. Take 3 breaths. All right, at the end of your 3rd breath, take both knees in toward your chest. Grabbing behind your knees, you'll give your feet a little bit of a kick. Start to rock forward and back along the length of your spine. My floor is squeaky. That's not my bat cracking. All right, so the next time you rock up, go ahead and pause. Lift your chest. Relax your shoulders down and back. So you want to get this sense of length through your torso before you straighten your legs. So For some of us, we go right to straightening the legs and then the back rounds and slumps. Keep your knees bent while you lift the chest, relax the shoulders, engage the belly. And then from that place of strength, maybe experiment with straightening one or both legs. Maybe experiment with letting go of your legs and reaching toward your feet. All right, take 3 more rounds of breath, whichever version of this pose you are in. All right, and then after your third breath, go ahead and release your feet. And then we'll come on to hands and knees. As we come on to hands and knees, you'll have your hands about shoulder distance apart underneath your shoulders and your knees about hip distance apart. So if you're practicing on a really hard surface and you want a blanket under your knees, that can be a nice assist to your practice. So start from your hands and knees. And then as you inhale, let the belly drop, lifting your head and your tailbone. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone around the back. Bring your chin toward your chest. Again, with your inhale, belly drops. Head and tail lift up. And exhale, tuck and round. We'll do that 3 more times. Breathing in. And breathing out. Twice more in. And out. And one more in. And out. Now, as you bring your torso to neutral, we'll tuck our toes under, lift the knees, take the hips up into the air as we find our first downward facing dog of this practice. Start to lift and lower the heels a few times, sensing not only into the feet and the ankles, but up the backs of the legs. Sensing as well the hands and the contact that they make with the floor. Are all of your fingers contributing to the effort of weight bearing here? Or is most of the weight in the base of your hand? Is it possible to spread some weight into the fingers and really notice how that impacts the engagement of your forearms, your upper arms, and your shoulders? All right, as you next inhale, rock forward into plank pose, taking your shoulders over your wrists. Belly is strong. Exhale as you lift back into downward dog. Again, as you inhale, rock forward, finding plank. Exhale, shifting back. And then just once more as you inhale. This time as you exhale, lower your knees, bend your elbows, and come all the way down onto the front of your body. Let the toes untuck, walk the arms forward. Take your elbows underneath your shoulders. And then with the elbows under the shoulders, start to press down into the mat, lifting the heart, reach it forward, reach back through your toes. Breathing deeply here in this back bend, notice what sensation you feel. All right, now as you lower your heart down to the floor, press back up onto hands and knees. This time we'll take our knees close together. Hands are still about shoulder distance apart. Reach your left leg back in space. Lift it up to approximately the same height as your torso. So as you're reaching back through that left leg, take your right arm forward. Now, for some of us, this might be a little bit too challenging to balance to have one arm and one leg lifted at the same time. If that's the case, take either your hand closer to the floor or your foot closer to the floor. Work with the amount of challenge that works best for your body. And we'll take 3 more breaths. All right, after your third breath, let the right hand come down. Take your left leg out to the side and drop the foot to the floor. So your left leg is just directly out from your hip. And then just walk your hands in so that you can lift your torso up. We'll take our palms together in front of the heart, interlace the fingers, press the palms forward and up. All right, take a deep breath in here. Exhale as you side bend over to the left. Again, inhale, come up. Exhale over to the left. And one more time, inhale, come up. And exhale over to the left. All right, as you inhale and come up, exhale, release your arms. And then we'll step this left foot forward into a long lunge. So you may step once forward or twice, depending on your leg length and what feels good in your body. So take a big step or two forward. Take your right hand either down to the floor, if that feels okay for the wrist. Maybe you come onto a fist if it doesn't feel okay to have a flat palm. And then left hand to left thigh, start to twist toward the left, sensing into the front of that right hip. Gently engage the belly a little bit and take 3 breaths. All right, then after your third breath, come back to hands and knees. Knees back underneath the hips, hands back underneath the shoulders. Tuck your toes, lift your knees and pause. So your knees are just about an inch or so off the floor, but you're still reaching your tailbone up. Rather than rounding your low back, reach your tailbone up. Take another breath in. And then exhale, lift all the way up into downward dog. All right, another breath in as you rock forward, finding plank pose as we did before. Shoulders over wrists, belly is strong, legs, arms, all strong. The next time that you exhale, lift back up into downward dog. Once again, inhale, come forward, finding plank. Exhale, lifting back. Now this third time, inhale forward into plank. But then as you exhale, release to your knees, bend your elbows, come all the way down onto the front of your body, just as we did before. Untuck the toes. This time we'll take the arms alongside the torso. All right, with your next inhale, lift your head, your chest, your feet, your arms, squeeze your shoulder blades together. So you're opening up across your chest, reaching back through fingers and toes. For some of us, it may be comfortable to interlace the fingers and reach back through knuckles instead. That's also fine to do. Take 3 breaths. All right, after your third breath, slowly melt into the floor. Press back up onto hands and knees. This time, knees are together. For this second side, hands under shoulders, reach your right leg back. And just lift your right leg up about the same height as your torso. Then take your left arm forward. And then remember, as before, if it's a little bit too challenging to keep both the arm and the leg lifted today, take either the hand a little closer to the floor to help with balance or the foot. Find your level of challenge and take 3 breaths. All right, then after your third breath, left hand comes down. Take the right leg all the way out to the right side so it's directly out from your hip. Walk your hands in, lifting up. Take the palms together in front of the heart. Interlace the fingers. Press the palms forward and up. Take a deep breath in. Exhale over to the right. Side bending. Twice more. Inhale, come up. Exhale over to the right. And one more. Inhale, come up. And exhale over to the right. All right, so as you inhale and come up, exhale, release your arms, and then take one or two big steps forward with your right foot. Coming into the lunge this time, it's left hand to the floor, maybe as a palm, maybe as a fist, depending on what works best to support your wrist. Right hand to right thigh, start to twist toward the right. All right, 3 deep breaths. All right, and then after your third breath, come back to hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, tuck your toes, lift your knees about an inch and pause. Check in with your low back. You want to feel like the low back is dropping down while your tailbone is lifting up, rather than the opposite of tucking the tailbone and rounding the back. Take another breath in. Exhale, lift all the way up into downward dog. Now from this downward dog, just start to walk your hands and feet toward each other. So you end up in a forward fold. Maybe your knees are a little bit bent. Belly laying on or close to the thighs. Release the weight of your head. Shake it out. Yes and no. All right, walk your hands up the fronts of your legs, rising up to stand nice and slow. Now we'll do what's called breath of joy. So you'll take 3 breaths in through your nose, 1 breath out through your mouth. So the in breath, you'll take the arms forward and then out and then up. So 3 sniffs in. Then as you exhale, you'll bend your knees, sweep your arms back. All right, breathing out through the mouth. So we'll do this roughly 15 rounds of breath or so. I never do count it, so it'll be approximately 15-ish. All right, so stand in a way that you feel steady. If you stand with your feet real close together, you might feel a little bit more wobbly. So take kind of a wider stance, not so wide that it prohibits your movement, but a wide-ish stance. And then really get grounded and rooted into your feet. So fall into your feet for the moment. So you feel the connection of your feet with your mat. And let's begin. Last one. And then just go ahead and pause with your forearms on your thighs, your knees a little bit bent, allowing the energy to kind of settle back down. And then when you're ready, gradually come to stand or all the way up to stand. Similar stance with the feet. We'll do another breathing practice here. Take the arms up, bent at the elbows. I'm going to be twisting here. So as you inhale, you'll twist over to your right side. And then as you exhale, twist over to your left side. So you'll breathe in through the nose and then out through the mouth. Now, this is something that you can go really slowly if you want to. You can go faster if you want to. Just find a rhythm that works for you, even if it's not the same speed that I'm going. All right, so let's begin. Landing in your feet. Now release the arms. Let them flop against the sides of the body. And then as you come to relative stillness, take one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly, and just pause. All right, so we'll do that again, breathing the opposite way. So arms back up. This time, inhale over toward your left side, and then exhale to the right. Still in through the nose, out through the mouth at your own speed. Again, release the arms. Let them flop against the sides of the body, just like they were empty coat sleeves. All right, coming to relative stillness. Again, one hand finds your heart, one hand finds your belly. All right, from here, turn so that you're facing sort of the top or the short edge of your mat. And then step your left foot forward and let your left foot kind of be in the left lane of the mat. Step your right foot back. Right toes are going to turn out just a little bit. But in general, the front of you is still facing the front of the mat. So you're not really twisting your torso. So if you've stepped too wide, you might feel like you need to twist in order to take your feet that wide. So take them a little closer together so that you can face forward. And then we'll take our palms forward in front of the body. So palms together, arms straight. All right, take a breath in here and really feel this space between your shoulder blades and all the way down your back start to inflate as though you had wings. Now, as you exhale, twist to your left side. So your left arm is going to go out and back. All right, inhale, bring the arms back together. Now we'll do something a little different on the right side. So with the right side, as you exhale, sweep the right arm up and back. Inhale, back up and forward. Exhale, twist left. So left arm is going out and back. All right. Inhale to take the arms together and you feel that spaciousness in your back. Exhale as you twist. Right arm sweeps up and back, and then up and forward as you inhale. Exhale, left arm out and back. Inhale together. Exhale, right arm. Inhale together. Exhale, left arm. All right, one more time. Inhale back together. Exhale, right arm. Inhale back together. Now this time, exhale, hands in toward the heart. All right, now you're going to shift your weight forward onto your left foot. You want to get as much weight as possible on the left foot. So for some of us, it's very challenging to balance on one foot. And if that's the case, just keep that right foot slightly on the floor. So you could be here taking maybe 80% of the weight into your left foot and only 20% in your right foot, or whatever approximation it feels like for your body. Or you might take your hands to your hips, keep shifting your weight to your left foot, and lift that right foot up off the floor. Now imagine that the top of your head and the bottom of your right foot are two ends of one string. So any amount that this leg comes up, the head goes forward. Now again, find your own level of challenge. Again, maybe that right foot is still on the floor, but you're reaching the top of the head away from the bottom of the right foot. All right, take one more round of breath. If your torso has come forward, go ahead and lift it up. And then we'll take this right foot down to the floor. Step the left foot back. Again, the distance that we're stepping between our feet is such that the front of the body can still face forward fairly easily. So not like the widest possible stance that your legs can do, but something a little less than that, a little more narrow than that. All right, so this time right foot is forward, left foot is back, left toes are turning out just a little bit. Take the arms forward, palms touch. Now, as we did before, the arm that goes first is just going to go out and back, and then the second side is going to go up and over. All right? All right, so inhale here with your hands together, feeling the spaciousness of your back. Exhale, twist to your right, send your right arm out and back. Inhale the hands back together. This time, exhale your left arm up and back. Inhale the hands back together so that left arm goes up and forward. Exhale to the right, out and back. Inhale together. Exhale up and back. Inhale together. Exhale out and back. Couple more times. All right, last one with the left arm up and back. Inhale up and forward. And then exhale the hands in toward the heart. All right, shift your weight forward onto your right foot. Again, this is most of the weight in the right foot. Maybe you keep your left foot down slightly, little bit of weight there, if it's too challenging to balance on one foot. All right, so either here, reaching the top of the head away from the bottom of the left foot, as though these 2 points are 2 ends on a string that is lengthening. Or if you want to experiment with lifting your left foot up, you might take your hands to your hips, gradually shift more and more weight into that right foot, and then let your left foot lift up. But keep the top of the head and the bottom of the left foot reaching away from each other. So any amount that you bring your torso forward, you're also lifting that left leg. Now you want to feel like your left hip and back of the leg are very strongly engaged as they're lifting up. So not hanging there, but reaching. All right, so whichever version you're in, slowly rise up. Take your left foot down to the floor. Take the feet about hip distance apart or maybe slightly wider. And then we'll just start to circle the hips. So push the hips back, out to the side, forward, out to the other side. So take a few circles in this way. And then change directions. All right, from here, bend your knees, push your hips back, float your arms up. Pause in chair pose. Take a little more weight into your heels, relax the grip of your toes. Take another breath in. And exhale, fold over your legs. Hands come to the floor, step backwards into downward dog. All right, and then from this downward facing dog, release down to your knees. And then sit back towards your feet. So just coming into child's pose with the hips near the feet. Head might come down to the floor or a block or a cushion, or even just your hands stacked one on top of the other. You can kind of stack your fists here if you don't have a block. And then just take 3 rounds of breath. All right, now you can stay in your child's pose for a little bit longer if you wish, or if you have more time before you have to do something else with the rest of your day, you might come to rest on your back in a pose that we call Shavasana or corpse pose to just give yourself a little bit of time to pause, absorb, integrate what we've done today. But if you do have to move on to whatever's next in your day, go ahead and start to come to a seated position. But if you're still in child's pose or moving toward Shavasana, you can hear what I'm saying, but just let yourself rest. All right, so the plan for this month for these live classes is to do a live class, obviously today, and then in 2 weeks on the 16th, and then 2 weeks after that on the 30th. But then on the alternate weeks, which I guess would be the 9th and the 23rd, I'm going to have a pre-recorded class that goes live at 9 a.m. So I'm going to add a little bit of music to that one just to see if people like music being added. And so that's what will happen on the 9th and the 23rd, live classes on the 2nd, the 16th, and the 30th. So again, thank you for joining me. Hope to see you again soon. Join the palms at the heart. Namaste. Thank you again.